You were never too much. You were never too intense, too sensitive, too loud, too deep. They just didn't have the capacity to hold what you carried. So they made you the problem. They made your light feel like an inconvenience. And for a long time, you believed them. You learned early that being excited made people roll their eyes, that asking too many questions made teachers sigh, that crying over nothing made parents go silent. So you learned to tuck your heart deeper into your chest. You watered yourself down. You became the easy friend, the chill partner, the low-maintenance child, not because that's who you are, but because it made you survivable. The real you was never too much. The real them just didn't know how to stay. I remember a friend, call him Tyler. Tyler loved philosophy. He loved deep conversations at midnight about life and death and the places in between, until one day someone laughed in his face and said, "Man, you think too much." He stopped bringing it up after that. Not because he stopped thinking, but because the room he was in was too small to echo back what he gave. Look around. The world rewards smallness. Smile politely. Don't cry at work. Don't talk too much about your dreams. Keep your enthusiasm manageable, your needs reasonable, your anger digestible. Be ambitious, but not too ambitious. Be emotional, but not too emotional. Be funny, but never offensive. Shrink yourself until you fit inside other people's comfort zones. And when you don't, when you overflow the tiny boxes they built, they call you dramatic. They call you needy. They call you too much because you refuse to be less. Carl Jung. The greatest burden a child must bear is the unlived life of the parents. They project their fears onto you, their unlived ambitions, their suppressed chaos, and instead of expanding themselves to meet you, they ask you to fold yourself smaller, quieter, simpler. Here's the truth they never told you. You were never broken. You were never too much. You were just around people who were too small to recognize you. Their ceilings were too low for your dreams. Their oceans too shallow for your depths. Their fears too loud to hear your clarity. Imagine a lion apologizing for its roar because the sheep felt disturbed. Imagine the ocean apologizing for drowning someone who never learned to swim. Imagine fire apologizing for burning someone who tried to touch it without respect. You were not made to shrink for their comfort. You were made to expand beyond their understanding. I knew someone once, a girl who loved art with every atom in her. She painted in her bedroom, sketched during lunch. Her hands were always stained with ink. Her mind always miles beyond the conversation. One day, someone she loved told her, "It's just a hobby. You'll never make anything real with it." And for a year, she didn't touch a brush. Not because she stopped loving it, but because she thought her love wasn't enough. That girl could have been anyone, and that girl could have been you. That girl was me. There comes a moment, after enough betrayal, after enough heartbreak, after enough shrinking, when you finally realize You were never supposed to fit inside anyone's smallness. You were supposed to find people whose hands are wide enough to hold your storms without fear. People who don't flinch when you speak your whole truth. People who don't get intimidated by your ambition. People who see your depth and dive in instead of running. You don't need to become quieter. You need to find rooms where your natural voice feels like the background music, not the disruption. And if that means leaving places you thought you'd stay forever, so be it. Better to walk alone in your fullness than suffocate in someone else's shallowness. Maybe they said you were too emotional. Maybe they said you were too ambitious, too deep, too complicated. Good. That means you were always real, always alive, always refusing to amputate parts of yourself to fit inside someone else's fear. The people who love you, the real you, will never ask you to shrink. They'll say, bring all of it. Bring the fire, the floods, the sky-breaking laughter. We've been waiting for someone who wouldn't stay small to survive. You are not too much. You are exactly enough. And anyone who can't see that was never big enough to stay anyway. Comment below. I will never shrink again. Watch next. Your voice was never the problem. Their silence was.